Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ross Deuces and this is how not to play Deathwing. So Deathwing was the primary reason why I wanted to re-record all my videos with the Dark Nexus, because look at that. Look at that skin! Unmitigated badass. So anyways, Deathwing is one of the newer heroes. Actually, he's the newest hero. And he has a trait that makes him, well, let's just put it this way. He is a badass. He is just straight up a badass. When he dropped into the Nexus, I'm not going to say that he was overpowered, but no one knew quite how to deal with him. Now, a lot of people will argue with me, and there's times whenever I have to step back and say, was he overpowered? But no. The reason that I say that he's not overpowered is the sheer fact that while his trait makes him unstoppable, it also has a counterplay of he cannot get any beneficiary things from your allies. We'll get into that whenever we get to his trait, but let's just put it this way. When you focus Deathwing down, he's crippled. He's dead. There's no way he can get out other than by his own tactics. He cannot rely on his team. So, what I'm trying to say here is if you see an enemy Deathwing, focus him down. Like, unless they have a Vala that's just straight up marking your team, focus down the Deathwing. Because he's down and out. He can't get support. I'm stressing this because I just literally had a warm-up game and no one wanted to focus Deathwing down. Their highest player beyond Deathwing was a Tassadar, who can melt pretty easily. But Tassadar was playing good, and he was playing safe, and he was playing smart. Deathwing was up in our faces the entire time. We could have focused him down. So I just want that stressed out. Anyways, we'll get to this. So, his trait is, as I was talking about, is not located there. Fantastic. Where is his trait? There is got to be a spot where it shows his trait. Okay. Apparently not. So basically, I don't know how it reads. We can read it whenever the game starts, but basically, Deathwing is permanently unstoppable except to time-stopping effects. So basically, elevators don't affect him, slows, CC, sleep, nothing affects him except time stops. That is powerful. However, as we were saying earlier, as the trait says, he views his team as unworthy and does not allow himself to be touched by their beneficial spells, heals, whatever. The only one that really affects him is Alexstrasza's W build whenever she can get it complete, and it pops a Regen Globe. Regen Globes can affect Deathwing's health. But other than that, it's not the greatest. Alright, other than that, there's nothing else that really affects his health, I don't believe. In fact, I could say with great confidence that it doesn't. I kind of was making a earlier, and I kind of skipped over it. When I was talking about how people said that Deathwing was overpowered, and I kind of disagreed, the reason that I'm kind of in the wrong there, even though I feel that I'm not, is that Blizzard went ahead and nerfed him. Of course. They nerfed him pretty hard, but he's in a good, solid place now. If you play smart, if you play well, and if you do not get an enemy hero, this is going to lead me to my next point of why I believe he's not overpowered. And if you do not get an enemy team that has percentage dealers, you're good to go. Now, that leads me to percentage dealers, another reason why I believe he's not overpowered. If you get a Mathiel, a Tychus, an Artanis at level 16, if he picks the correct choice, did I say Tychus? Tychus. Anyone that deals percentage damage, you're melting Deathwing. Hell, the Lost Vikings with a specific talent can melt Deathwing. I got over cocky because I know the Lost Vikings, or at least I thought I did, and I was fighting 3 of them with the Deathwing before he got nerfed. They melted my health bar. You know how humbling it is to be playing this giant fucking dragon and get taken down by 3 little fucking people that, no one in Quick Match ever wants to see on their team? Shit was ridiculous. Lost Vikings can single man, or at least 3-man, a Deathwing with damn near no problem at all. If the Lost Vikings can kill you with barely breaking a sweat, your hero is not overpowered. I rest my case. So anyways, let's get back to Deathwing's abilities. He has 2 different forms that you switch between with his 1. He gets a natural 1 talent that you can switch between them, and also when you're in the air, you get a ability to drop down in either one of these forms. We'll go through Destroyer form and then Worldbreaker form. So Destroyer form. Now, before I continue on, Destroyer form and Worldbreaker form, his Q is the same no matter what. So, his Q, Molten Flame. It is a straight line skill shot. Whoa, hello. After 1.5 seconds, Deathwing breathes a stream of flame, dealing 21 damage every 0.125 seconds, drains 30 energy per second. He starts off with like 100 energy, so it's not that long. However, his Q build can be disgusting. If you're a good Deathwing and the enemy team is playing sloppy, you can pretty much get a team wipe with the Q build. I've done it before. There's also a lot of good heroes that could build up with that. Leorc with his prison. If he gets a whole team, or at least 3 of them stuck in that prison, and you queue right into it. Butcher's post is not so great because they can still spread out, but they're still trying to panic, trying to run from Butcher. There's a lot of other good choices. It kind of lines up with the same kind of combo with Phoenix's Planet Cracker. Just on a, easier scale because your Q isn't an ult. Anyways, his W, Incinerate. It is an area effect around him. After 0.75 seconds, Deathwing flaps his wings, dealing X damage to nearby enemies. It's an area effect around Deathwing. You didn't activate it, he flaps his wings, and there it goes. Next is his E. It's a straight line skill shot. After 0.5 seconds, Deathwing lunges in a direction, dealing X damage to enemies and slowing them by 35% for 2 seconds. Deathwing bites at the end of the lunge, dealing an additional X damage. So it's a great CC or chase and or disengage tool, because that can give you just a little bit of breathing room if you're trying to get out of some incoming damage and just try to get to safety so that way you can get out. His trait, oh, well, there we go, his trait, if I just kind of stuck along. Anyways, Deathwing is fitted with 4 armor plates, which grant 10 armor each. Every 25% health loss causes Deathwing to lose a plate. Plates are only restored when Dragonflight is used, based on the amount of health Deathwing has when landing. Deathwing is also a mighty dragon aspect who is permanently unstoppable and deals 100% additional spell damage to heroes, but views his allies with contempt and ignores any of their friendly effects. So, some things we have to unpack here. Basically, as it said, every 25% of your health, think of it as a segmented 100% bar, with 25% segmented throughout. Each of those 25% is a marker for armor, with the last one giving only, I think, with 10% until you're dead. Or 10 armor until you're dead. When it says that it's based on the amount of health Deathwing has when landing, so when you're flying up in the air, Deathwing is nowhere to be seen, but you can see his health bar, of course, because you kind of need to see that. You'll see his health bar, and that's how you can gauge it. If you're good, if you know Deathwing and you can see, whenever you see his health bar, you have a good idea of where it's going to end at. So what am I saying there? Basically, you can tell with enough games played as Deathwing when you're going to get all the armor slots, 3 of them, 2 of them, or whatever. It's just a matter of experience and knowing how the health bar would basically look. Of course, you're more than welcome. I don't fully say this all the time, but you're more than welcome to stay until you get 100% of your health back. That will take a while as Deathwing. It does take some hot time. Also, a key thing to note, you cannot, well, you can be back to the altar. You will not gain health that way. It's a fine way to get back into a safe place where nothing can touch you, but you're going to be doing nothing there. You're getting no health, no nothing out of it. So anyways, that is his trait, and I always forget about the 100% additional spell damage. I don't know why, I just do. It just seems part of his natural kit. Well, I guess it is, but whatever. Anyways, his ult, which is on him at the start, but on a I think it's like the starter is 180 cooldown. You get his ult, you get no other ult, but you get it immediately. After 2 seconds, Deathwing flies in the target direction, dealing 90 damage on impact, X damage on impact, and leaving a scorched ground that deals X damage to a second. Lasts 6 seconds. This is a great engage, disengage, everything. It's a straight line skill shot, BT dubs. It is a great one. This used to be overpowered. This is what definitely needed to be nerfed about Deathwing. His ult was disgusting. It dealt a shit ton of DOT and a shit ton of initial damage. Coupled that with the level 20 upgrade to the Cataclysm, it could rock some faces. I think it slows them, and they take additional damage over it. Shit was redonkulous. Now, there's something I want y'all to be noting about how his abilities work. And we'll get to it whenever we finish off with the World Breaker. His W in World Breaker form is Lava Burst. It is a set it and forget it kind of ability, AoE type situation. After 1 second delay, deal X damage to all enemies in an area and create a pool of magma that deals X damage per second and slows enemies by 35%. Lasts 6 seconds. So you set it if there's like a entrance to an entrance to an objective that you want them to try to not go through or slow them through, you could drop it right there. And it'll deal the initial damage and then slow them whenever they walk through it. I've never truly appreciated the slow until I've gone against Deathwing. It can be pretty infuriating whenever you're trying to get to objective, because that 35% slow is pretty stupid when you're having to deal with it. It doesn't seem like it when you're playing with Deathwing, but playing against him, it's annoying to deal with. It's a great form of CC, although it's not hard CC. It's still nice to have. His E, Earth Shatter, create a fish of Earth that deals X damage to enemies and hits and stuns them for 0.75 seconds. It is a V form from Deathwing's origin. It's kind of wonky, but once you get used to it, it's nice, but I can't think of anything that's remotely similar except for like Genji's maybe X Strike that functions that way, where it makes a V. But it's a nice little CC as well. And the other two are the remaining same. So when I asked you to try to find the correlation between these, I don't want to remember what I said earlier. Basically, this is another reason why I believe Deathwing was not an OP character. Every single one of his abilities have a wind-up. Every single one. Switching between his two forms has a wind-up time. His Q has a wind-up. WE doesn't matter what it is. Everything has a wind-up time. Which can be infuriating if you are used or comfortable with heroes that have almost instantaneous abilities. But every single one of Deathwings, it's a wind-up time. You have to take that into consideration. You have to take that whenever you're trying to land a skill shot or anything. It can be difficult and it can be annoying. But to compensate, they are very powerful abilities. And I think that works out really well in his benefit. I think that's very clever of Blizzard if that was what they were going for. So there are pretty much 2 different ways I like to play Deathwing. Well, 3 if you could count his Q build. Q build I rarely go nowadays because most people know to get out of the way of Q. I want a really strong CC heavy friendly team unless I go through Q, or sometimes I decide just for the hell of it. If I've noticed that I've been landing it a fair amount, then I go Q early game. Then I start going Q build. If they have a melee heavy build, I will stick with Destroyer form and go with Incinerate. I'll just pump up the hell out of my W because this can fuck some shit up. Then if they have a weird team that I just don't know what to do with really, then I'll usually go with like a World Breaker form and spec into a little bit of Lava Burst and some other abilities. Deathwing is pretty nice that way, where you're not constricted to one build primarily. I think he's one of the only characters I've really never gone and looked up a build for, just because I like his kit. I like what he can do. There's some skills that I think are absolute garbage. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like Molten Blood. This seems like absolute garbage to me. Well, you have 3 or more, so you have to have the minimum of 3 plates, which in a team fight you're not going to have unless the enemy team's stupid. It doesn't focus you. He heals for 0.5% of his maximum health per second. That's nothing. That is nothing of healing right there. I just think that is the dumbest talent I've ever seen in my life. Especially with Dragon Soul, this one heals whenever you see. This is why I go W. The Incinerate, the AoE around his wings when he flaps his wings, a 75% healing right there for every enemy caught by it. And plus Lava Burst is okay healing too. Draconic Might is really good too. It's really great for burst, especially if there's a KO Pyroblast. You could time one of your armor breaking. It gives you protected for like how long? 0.75 seconds. If it can time just right, that Pyroblast will do nothing. It's pretty fucking stupid. I love it. But yeah, I used to try a Dragon's Ire. While Deathwing has 3 or fewer armor plates, his damage is increased by 25%. I used to try a build with that whenever it was OP, and I couldn't get anything to work. And now that they nerfed him, I don't even bother with it. But I've gone on too much about Deathwing and his abilities so far. I think it's about time that we get this rock and rolling. Let's do this.
I am the destroyer.
Yes, you are. All right. Find ourselves on Infernal Shrines against. I love our team. Don't know how to feel about the enemy team.
I've been ready for a long time. How about you? Come, embrace the inevitable as I have.
Yes. All right. I don't think we've made any other separate builds for him. No, I think I started to with him and I stopped. I don't know how to go because we're not going to be. The only one who's going to really be up my bum is Joanna and Zeratul, potentially, if they're not trying to target down Zul'jin. So, I don't think a W build would be great. Draconic might have to be the way it goes. And they have a lot of mobility, so Q build is definitely not a viable option. So, one thing that a lot of people like to do with Deathwing is, as soon as the game starts, use their Dragonflight. I don't recommend this. It has a 45-second cooldown, and it's meant to be used to get your health back. And I don't understand why you're going to waste that. Yeah! Wow, that was beautiful. Oh, I'm so hoping she would go to the right. One thing, Deathwing doesn't have the greatest wave clear, but his Q has fantastic wave clear. I used to hate Deathwing for wave clear, but I don't really like using his Q for it, even though you don't have much choice. But, I mean, it's hard to argue with these results. The reason I didn't like using it was because it eats up all of his energy. Alright, she's probably gonna... Let's see. There's our ult.
Who will be the first to be blasted?
I think we get it as long as things go well before we officially get ult, but like right before. Or before the teams officially get it. I don't know what build.
Pitiful mortals. No
Poison is barely touching me, but at the same time it is affecting me. Where's her little... Do I dare go Q-Bill with the gun system?
Approaches.
I can't imagine going it, but I can't imagine using anything else. I guess I could do a Wolfbreaker form. And... I guess that's what we're gonna have to do.
Activate the shrine, defeat its guardians, and the Punisher will be ours.
go with... I don't like the meters too much, but... As I said, well, I never said it, but I should have said it. If you're good at predicting where they're gonna move with Deathwing, you can do some serious damage. I'm not saying that I'm great at it. I usually overthink it and screw up, but we've had some good plays. We're gonna go ahead and activate our Dragon Play. Where are my fucking meteors at? Oh, duh. I used that wrong. Duh. I was thinking of the other ones where you throw them down.
Our Punisher has
Oh,
fallen
Punisher got
before the
distracted.
enemy.
Bitch. I hate the meteor one. I was completely wrong in what I wanted to do. Do I engage here? Just Alright, we're gonna go with Burn Beneath My Shadow. Oh yeah, and tippy taps do work to heal you up. You just don't get any of your armor back. Clever. You got out. Yeah, see, this is the health bar I was talking about. Look how it slows. It feels fast, but not fast enough for this team fight that I accidentally forced and then had to flee from. I was just trying to get this fort, which forced this team fight. Luckily, our team is really good at. Ooh, an Abathur with Mule. We need to make sure we kill shit then, with that in mind. I was trying to stop the mule from repairing that.
Defeat the Shrine's Guardians and let loose the Punisher upon our foe.
Choose a talent.
Okay, alright. I'm gonna go ahead and get in the air. That's a long walk. That would be nice with the garage. Eh, why not? I haven't done that build in a long time. This is the one I couldn't get to work. The other one gauge, there it is. Denial, plus we'll see what's happening over there.
Our frozen Punisher has joined us in battle.
We did get the fort. That's good. They did good. Look at that. That's exactly what you want to do with the Immortal. The Punisher, excuse me. Is pull it over so that way you get all this hitting it and we can't do anything about it. So the gate's destroyed. That was really well done by them. I'm just observing, see the best place to drop. Looks like right here. Yeah, I screwed that up. I was clicking over here by accident. I don't know why. We're gonna go with the Elementium plating. Let's give us a little bit of survivability. So basically, it acts as a dragonflight as long as you're not taking any damage. You don't have to go into the air or anything. And I think we might go Arrival of a God to get all of his level 7 abilities, since I just hate this one I picked. That means we're going to be sacrificing Stood in the Fire, though. Enemy heroes are slowed by 40% when standing in the sacred course ground. Well, actually, no. That'll tie in really well with our thing, so we'll go with the ult upgrade. We're going to go ahead and take flight. It's got 2 minutes. Why would you warn it? Wait for them to engage. How long is the cooldown on this? Alright, we won't be switching forms, so I'm gonna move that over there. This cooldown is 60 seconds. It's not one yet. Nicely done, Mathiel.
None can stand in my way.
Activate the shrine. Do not let our enemy claim the Punisher's power.
back up, shield myself, so that way we can get the healing through it. Nice. That was close.
Our Punisher.
Their fate was inevitable.
I just wanted to dissuade him from engaging on that Zarya.
Do it.
That was impressive.
Well done.
That was actually really impressive. He killed me. I thought I had plenty of health and I had plenty of everything else going on, but I guess I was thinking. They need a focus core. Focus core, and that's GG. Alright, GG. So that's Deathwing. He's still a definite powerhouse, even through the nerfs. The nerfs that Blizzard did need to happen, and I agree with them. I just don't think that he was overpowered. He was definitely too strong for where everyone else was, every other hero. But definitely not overpowered. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you all have a great night, a great day, and everything else in between. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel come out. Special thanks to my patron, Darth Vader. And I think that about covers it. Thank you so much. Take care. Oh, and stay safe out there.